Because it's different. A pilot study is much smaller.
Smaller, like we need
so how
10.
small?
10 or 15.
We need more than that.
But
I disagree.
But
it's too
maybe
few.
maybe if we get a lot of people in our study, then it won't be a pilot study. It'll just work and.
Yes, but if people drop out and you have
Right.
too few, if you start with 10
Right.
and you could have
That's
not
right.
not nearly enough
Yeah.
to.
So the more we get to begin, I think that.
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
think if we, for example, and if we try to get maybe 50,
Mhm.
no more,
Right.
and then
Okay.
if some drop out,
Right.
still a pilot study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think
Okay.
that'd be good.
All right.
Okay. So now we're going on to the method, where we're going to carry.
Where we're gonna
It
do
out.
this.
Well, we're doing it here at SQU. Do we
Yeah.
only want to use SQU students? That's something maybe we should have talked about in demographics. We could use the university students from SQU and the German university and other.
What do you mean? What do you
Well,
mean?
there's
The
a-
German?
There's a German university here in Muscat.
Oh.
So
Okay.
we
I
could
didn't
use
know.
different campuses for different.
We could, but then,
But
then
we're-
how are we going to advertise to them? We don't know
Yeah,
anything about this other university.
that's true. Well, we would just have to go and hang up posters there.
I
That's
don't
the
want to do
only
that.
thing.
I disagree.
Okay, all right.
Let's
we will-
focus on
we'll-
SQU.
all right.
Pilot study. It's small
Okay.
anyway.
So we'll do it here at SQU.
And maybe get a room where we can just bring them in and interview them
Right, right.
about their exercise.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
Okay.
Type of study.
Mhm.
What's your opinion about what type of study this is going to be? It's going to be sending out questionnaires.
Right.
But-
But it's about how often
That's right.
they exercise. So if we have a questionnaire that asks them, it's about frequency, right? So
That's right.
That's about numbers, right?
Right. So it's going to be a quantitative study.
Oh, can you explain? I can't remember.
Remember, there's quantitative, which is about we get data in numbers, and
Oh, yeah.
qualitative, that's we get answers in numbers. So we're going to be doing quantitative, getting numbers. So somehow we have to get these subjects to tell us every week how often they have exercised.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, we need a control group and an experimental group.
Oh,
so that we have a good study.
Absolutely. So the control group will be those that don't get the text messages.
That's right.
Because the intervention
Right.
is the text messages.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the experimental group is getting the text messages.
Okay, so the students or the subjects have to email us, or maybe just keep a logbook or a record for a month.
Mm-hmm.
How many days a week they exercise, and for how long.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the type of study is experimental, and it's quantitative. Experimental because we have control group
Right.
experimental,
Yes.
and quantitative because we're collecting information,
Information
in
and
numbers.
numbers. Right.
Okay.
Okay. How to collect our data.
Yeah. So
But I'm just thinking, before we talk about collecting data, shouldn't we talk about the tools? Because how we get our data depends on what tools.
right.
Right.
Okay.
And remember before we talked about how we need to know how much they exercise at the beginning
That's right.
to compare it to the end.
So we need a pretest.
Yes, pretest. We
and
need to
then
design
post-test.
some kind of questionnaire that,
Right. Right.
and then give them that at the beginning.
Okay. Well, maybe that can be part of the questionnaire that we give them for their demographics, because we'll need lots of information about, how old they are, and maybe how much they weigh, and what exercise they're doing now, and maybe their BMI. So maybe we can include that information in the tools, so the questionnaire.
So a pre-test demographic.
Maybe we can find a questionnaire that somebody has already written, so it's already valid,
Ooh.
reliable,
Yes,
and then we
material.
can we'll use that same questionnaire for our study, so that we know it's a good questionnaire.
Good idea, good idea.
Okay.
All right, so we'll have that pre-test demographic, hopefully one that we can find that's already,
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so.
um,
That'd
that
make
is,
it easier.
that is valid,
Okay.
okay.
So,
And then, I'm thinking, how long have we been talking? I think we can stop.
Okay. All right.